Hello everyone and welcome to episode 6 of Firefight. I'm your host David. Now in this Firefight series we are going to look at breaching charges. Now there aren't many breaching charges around. I've had a quick skim through the Legion book and there are 3 units which they're readily available to. The first is Phalanx Warders, the second is a standard Legion Breacher squad, and then finally Iron Hands Immortals. And it's the Immortals that we are going to look at today. Now, interesting enough, in both the Phalanx Warders and the Legion Breacher squads, breaching charges are 10 points each, but it's the pleasure of the Iron Hands Immortals there. They get them for 5 whole points, which is really interesting. Now, as I said, there's not many breaching charges around. And by the looks of it, they're very limited to certain units, which makes sense because breaching units will go into a Zone Mortalis, or they will siege a wall or a strategic point in a fortress or a bunker and try and break through and gain entry. So it makes sense for those 3 units to have breaching charges. Now, breaching charges are of course used to penetrate structures, as I mentioned, vehicles or buildings or whatever. And they're used in melee, but they can also be used, as I just mentioned, in melee against infantry or monstrous creatures, whatever. So in hand-to-hand combat, which is really, really interesting. But when you look at the rules, they've got a fantastic stat line. They're Strength 8, AP 2, melee, 1 use, 3-inch blast, and we'll come to that in a second, and have the Wrecker special rule. But the thing about them is you roll to hit, and if you hit, you lay a 3-inch blast template, everything cut underneath, Strength 8, average toughness is 4 or 5, wins on 2, AP 2, which is fantastic. But there's a really good chance that they could scatter back into your squad, because if you fail to hit against the weapon skill, the majority weapon skill in the squad, then you roll a scatter dice, and it's all depending on where that scatter dice goes, which is really interesting. If you place it in base contact with the person using the breach charge, it could scatter, I guess, essentially 3 inches further into your opponent, or it could easily scatter back into yourself, and Strength 8 AP2 is quite tough. So what I've got here to try and demonstrate that, I've got 10 Iron Hands Immortals, and I've just give you a quick breakdown of the list. There's 10 Immortals. The Sergeant has Artificer Armour and a Breaching Charge, of course, and the entire squad is armed with Volkite charges, and that squad comes out at 240 points. Then we'll look at the Word Bearers there. They're 260 points, so very, very similar. I tried to give it as close as I can. They're equipped with a Reaper Autocannon, 2 Enchained Fists, and 4 Lightning Claws. So nothing terribly special on either unit. I could have given the Immortals a Melter Gun, which I've got modelled, but I just thought, do you know what, I'll just keep it standard and we'll see what happens. It's also worth noting as well that there are 6 Word Bearers Terminators there, and they are armed in Tartaros pattern Terminator armour. So, 5 up invulnerable. I would have liked to have used Cataphracti, but as we're using Dan Porter's Word Bearers, he had some Cataphracti, but they weren't finished painted, unfortunately. So we used the Tartarus. I hope that's okay with you guys. All right, so ultimately we want to look at the breaching charge in combat, but we're going to go into a firefight here, and we're just going to look at the thrust of battle between these 2 units. So we're going to go through the whole movement, shooting, declaring over charge, overwatch, charge, and then we'll do initiatives, and hopefully we'll see if we can get that breaching charge into good use. I think the matchup is quite good. We've got a 5+ invulnerable from the Tartarus. The Immortals are a bit tough. I mean, they are toughness 5 against shooting, so that will help them with the oncoming fire from the Terminators. But they're in toughness 4 in combat, of course. It only refers to shooting, but they do have that invulnerable saving in close combat. So 6 up against shooting, 5 up against combat, and then they have Feel No Pain 5 up. So quite a formidable unit, to be honest with you. But they're Immortals, and they should be. So without further ado, let's get on with it. But first we're going to roll an initiative off to see who gets their turn sequence first. Now we've done this before where we've tried to get something in place and it just hasn't worked. So if this all completely messes up, then we'll work out the combat and have a bit of a laugh. But if we don't manage to get the breaching charge in, the sergeant dies, whatever, then we'll just reset at the end and then we'll just do the breaching charge and just see what happens. So I've got different dice today. I've got the channel dice for the Iron Hands, of course, and I've got these really funky yellow dice from Boys of the Golden Throne. They're a podcast in, hopefully it's Canada. I hope to hell it's Canada. AJ came over whilst he was working in Germany to the channel and had a game on the channel. So he had Mechanicum. So if you haven't watched that game, go back and watch it. But on their fantastic dice here, the toilet surrounded by a cog is a 6. Okay, and mixed in there as well, there's Conflict Norwich dice where the servo skull with a Volkite charger there. That's also a 6 as well. So we've got yellow dice versus red dice, and some white SN No Retreat dice, which Pardo gave me when I visited No Retreat in Gibraltar a couple of years ago. All right, housekeeping done. Let's have initiative off to see what happens. Oh, draw, fantastic. All right, so is the Iron Hands going first? Well, this bodes well for our firefight. All right, so let's kick off. Movement-wise, let's move them in so we're the shortest possible distance away, so we're guaranteed not to fail that charge and get as many models into combat as possible. So the Volkite charges are 2 shots apiece, they're strength 5, AP 5, and they have the deflagrate special roll. So 10 models, 2 dice, so 20 dice in total, which I have exactly here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20. All right, so they require 3s to hit. Let's have a look. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 misses, but do you know what? That's pretty average, to be fair. That, you know, it works out, doesn't it? Strength 5, toughness 4, so 3s to wound. This hopefully should be where they make some of it back, which they do. So 2, 4, 6, 7 wounds. Terminators have Terminator armor, of course, so 2 ups. Oh, look at that. The Terminators have stood strong. So good on them. They've survived the initial onslaught of fire from the Volkite charges there on the Iron Hands Immortals. So that's the firing done. Next, we're going to declare a charge against the Tartarus Terminators, and they will, of course, get to Overwatch. Obviously, if they're in Cataphractii, they weren't able to, but because they're wearing Tartarus, they can Overwatch. So we'll do the Reaper Autocannon first. 2 shots. Twin linked, requiring 6s, nothing there. And then finally 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 combi bolters. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 combi bolters. 6s. Oh, only 1. That's terrible. They are twin linked, of course. Oh wow. Okay, so we picked up 3. So 2 Boys of the Golden Throne and 1 Conflict Norwich. Good enough. Strength 4. Now toughness 5, of course, because Immortals are toughness 5 due to their inviolate armor. So that's 5s to wound. 1 wound. Could this be enough to fell an Immortal? 3 up armor. Got through the armor. Now has feel no pain of 5 up. Boom! 1 Immortal has been taken down. All right, good on you, Tartarus Terminators. Now the charge for the Immortals. They easily make it in with a 5. All right, so we're pretty much guaranteed in. All right, so the Immortals have made it into combat. Now, at this point, we could declare a challenge, and I want to talk about this in particular because involving a challenge with a breaching charge is really interesting. Okay, so we obviously know if you issue a challenge, the other player needs to decide if they accept or not, which is fine. We know that. So in this instance, if they did decide to accept, the characters are actually very close to each other. But what happens maybe if it's really tight and it says in the rule, but you know, if you can't bring a model closer to the respective model, you pull them out of combat and you separate them, and then you go from there. But what if your sergeant wants to use a breaching charge in combat? he's only technically going to hit one target with that breaching charge. So it makes sense, before you charge into combat, work out where your sergeant is and make sure he can maximize the amount of targets he can get to, which then, if you do roll to hit with your breaching charge, you will hit as many as the enemy as possible and not have to separate your models out to have a challenge separately on their own, because you are using a blast marker. So it's just a real easy tip to remember. Always try and maximize your effective influence, I guess, or the amount of targets you can hit when you're going with your attack. Alright, so in this instance, it doesn't matter so much if there's a challenge issued or not, but the sergeant will issue a challenge, because it's the sort of thing we do in Heresy. We like to issue a challenge. So they're already in base contact together, which is perfect. Now, everyone is striking at Initiative 4, with the exception of the Terminators armed with the Chain Fist. So the Chain Fist is on the Sergeant for the Terminators, and the Reaper Autocannon Tartarus Terminator also has a Chain Fist. So we'll move everyone in the Initiative 4 that can strike. So the Iron Hands went first, so we'll give them the first opportunity to attack, and it's obviously everyone within 2 inches of someone in base contact, which, if I've done it all right, is everyone. So we know that there's 10 Breacher Marines in the squad, 1 has died, and the Sergeant is in a challenge. So we have 8 Breachers. They've got 1 attack base, 2 on the charge, so we have 16 attacks. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Now they are weapon skilled 4 versus weapon skill 4, so are hitting on 4s. Alright, that was not an amazing roll. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is 10 misses. Wow. So 2, 4, 6. Sorry, 12 misses. And now we're strength 4, toughness 4. So it's all about the 4s with Space Marines. That was quite appalling. Only 2 wounds. Now these are going to the Tartarus. We might get lucky with a couple of 1s. Let's get those dice going. Oh, it was not meant to be. So the Tartarus Terminators are unscathed from that attack. Alright, so we are striking Initiative 4 also with the Iron Hands Immortal Sergeant, who's in the challenge. Now, this is where it comes down to this blast marker. If we can get this off, those Terminators are in trouble. But if we can't, then it's not looking good. Alright, so the Sergeant only makes 1 attack with a grenade. Weapon skill 4 versus weapon skill, so we need a 4, or we've got to roll that dreaded scatter dice. Haha, I'm actually glad we missed, because it perfectly demonstrates the nervousness about using these breacher charges. Alright, so it was a foul to hit. If we'd put that in contact, that would have easily have clipped 4 Terminators. That would have been lovely. But now we roll the dreaded scatter dice, praying that it doesn't scatter back onto the Immortals. So let's see what happens. Oh, now, if you roll a hit, you have to re-roll. I appreciate there's an arrow. Oh, let's have a think about that. Yeah, okay, what we'll do is we'll take the arrow on the front of that dice. That makes sense. So if I get a very technical arm, do you know what? That's not bad. It does clip. Oh, that's really good, actually. It does clip 1 Immortal and clips... Oh, hang on, let's get this right. Oh, it's very hard, isn't it? No, it's not amazing, actually. All right, it clips 3 Immortals. All right, it clips 2 Immortals and 3 Terminators. All right, okay. So let's do the wounds for the Immortals first. 2s to wound, 1 and a 2. I mean, that's not too bad, is it? It's Strength 8 AP2. It gets through the armor, but they get 5 up, invulnerable from attacks in close combat. So 5 up for the Immortal. Bomb, saved on his invulnerable save. That was pretty lucky. All right, and now the 2 wounds allocated to the 3 word bearers. So we clipped the 2 lightning claws, and then we clipped the Terminator with the Reaper autocannon. So 2s. All right, so it only clips 2, so it'll only get the 2 lightning claws. And now they need 5 up. So same sort of again with the breachers and the Terminators with their invent. Look at that. Double 6. I actually used the wrong dice, didn't I? I should have used the yellows for the word bearers. That's where it went wrong. Let's see what would have happened. Oh, we'll save 1, lost 1. That's fair enough. All right, so luckily the Terminators have escaped. But again, it raises the question, if you can't hit That's a really nervous moment because that could have easily have scattered back onto, you know, we would have been clipping what, let's have a look here, you know, 4 or 5 breaches. So they're really lucky. So good on them. All right, so that's the Iron Hands done. Let's go to Initiative 4 for the Tartarus Terminators. They still would have got to attack, of course, because they're striking at the same initiative. So Terminators 2 base, they didn't charge. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8 Lightning Claw attacks. All right, so 2, 4, 6, 8. 4s to hit. Much better. I'll say much better. Again, half. Unreal. And now they're Strength 4, Toughness 4. So 4s to wound. Appalling roll. Shred, of course, because Lightning Claws. That was a good save, wasn't it? So only picked up 1 more. And now we need 3 up armor saves. We don't need 3 up armor saves because it gets through their armor. 5 up invulnerable saves from the Immortals. Pass 1, fail 1. And then finally, Feel No Pain. And that is a fail. So another Immortal dies. We'll just pull this Immortal off at the front here. All right, so not bad. You know, the Terminators are doing quite well. All right, let's move into Initiative 1. This Chain Fist here is going to move in on the Tartarus Terminator there. The Sergeant is already in close combat, in the challenge rather, so he will attack the Immortals Sergeant. It's got some little rules here. Let me just double check these. Okay, so 2 attacks from the Sergeant into the Immortals. 4s to hit. That's a double hit. Good on you. 2s to wound. 2 wounds. Fantastic. All right, so the Immortal needs 5 up invulnerable. No Feel No Pain from this because it doubles him out, but only being Toughness 4 and Strength 8. Oh, wrong dice. Wrong dice. Sorry. I threw one off the board. Oh, wow, look, No Retreat to the rescue there. And that is the Sergeant slain to a Chain Fist. All right, good work. And then finally, we've got the Reporter Cannon Terminator armed with a Chain Fist. 4s to hit. Oh, not a sausage. All right, so at the end of that combat, the Wordbearers Terminators win by a difference of 2, which is really interesting. So the Immortals will need a leadership test. They're 9 with a Sergeant, but he's obviously dead. So we're 8. Minus 2 is 6. Let's see if the Immortals can do it. 4, 5, 6. Bang on with a 6. All right, good on you, Immortals. At the end of the phase, everyone piled into combat just to make sure that they're able to attack for the next round. All right, moving on to round 2 of this combat. It's the Wordbearers' turn now, and they will strike at Initiative 4 with their Lightning Claws. There's obviously no Sergeant in the Immortals for the Wordbearers to challenge now, so we'll go straight into combat. Wordbearers, 1, 2, 3, 4, so 8 attacks. 2, 4, 6, 8. 4s to hit. Not bad, not bad. 4, well, it's half again, unbelievably. Strength 4, Toughness 4, 4s. With Shred, could it be a full complement? No, not quite. Gets through the Immortal's armor, straight into those breach shield saves. Look at that, save 2. They will get Feel No Pain from this 5 up. No, and another Marine dies. All right, so 1 Marine in this round. Next, we'll strike back with the Immortals. Now that Immortal that just died will get to attack still. 1 attack from him, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 7 in total. 2, 4, 6, 7. Requiring 4s to hit. Oh, that was poor. Okay, so we only got 2 hits there. Strength 4, Toughness 4, 4s to wound. Okay, it is a 6. That's not too bad at least. And then a 2-up armor save from that Tartarus Terminator. It is a... Oh, I used the wrong dice again. God damn it. Let's just redo that quickly. Oh, it was a 1. Can't take it back. All right, so the Terminator is absolutely fine. Down to Initiative 1. We've got 4 attacks from the Chain Fists. Not bad. Okay, so 3 hits. Fantastic news. 2s to wound. It's not looking good for the Immortals, is it? All right, so now we need 5 ups. Get the right dice this time. Oh, 1 saved. No Feel No Pain. That is 2 Immortals killed. I guess we'll take 1 from here and 1 from this end. That's where the Chain Fist is. So bad news there. The Iron Hands have lost combat by -3. So we need a 5. Let's see what happens. Oh, that is an absolute fail. All right, so let's have a sweep in advance from the Tartarus Terminators. Now, they do have something called Cut Them Down, which allows them to re-roll rolls of 1 in their sweeping advance. Let's see what happens. Okay, so they get a 3 plus 4, which takes us to 7, and the Immortals get a 1. Unbelievable. The Immortals have been wiped. I think that was very unlucky, and they will consolidate 3 inches, as we discussed. Let's move those quickly forward. Wow, what a tough unit. Now, really surprising. I really thought that the Immortals were going to do the job on those Terminators. You know, the Terminators only needed to lose a couple of models from the shooting and their charge, but it just wasn't meant to be. That 2-up armor did some great work. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to reset, and we're going to try and get more of a better result for the breaching charge to see if that can turn the tide. All right, let's try this again. Let's see if we can get a different result. Let's see if that breacher charge can make a difference. Now, before we get started though, you will notice that I have put sergeants in both squads, just 1 or 2 members behind just 1 or 2 models behind their squad members. That's just to make sure, particularly for the Iron Hands, that breacher charge is put in place and can do its maximum amount of damage. So if we lose a couple of Marines from shooting from the Word Bearers, if they get to shoot before the Immortals charge, then at least we've got a bit of a buffer there. You know, that 2-up Artificer armor and then the Phenomenal Pain is really nice, but you know, you can always roll a 1. All right, so let's go back into this initiative. Let's see what happens. Yellow for the Word Bearers and black for the Immortals. And it is the Immortals again that will go first. Let's hope they can do a better job of pulling down the Marines with their Volkite charges. All right, so let's start with them. We've got 20 dice. We need a better round of shooting, I think. All right, 3s to hit. Oh, geez. 2, 4, 6. We only dropped 6 this time round. Okay, so that was really good. Excellent work. Strength 5, toughness 4, requiring 5s. Excuse me, 3s. That's good. 2, 4, 6, 7. Oh, man. All right. 2-up armor saves for those Terminators. They saved all of these last time. Look at that. They dropped 3. That was devastating. All right, so tricky now, isn't it? We killed 2 Terminators. Now we're on to the Sergeant. So let's have a look out, sir, from the Sergeant, because we want to keep that chain fist. Or do we? Do you want to strike initiative? Yeah, we'll keep the Sergeant. So look out, sir, 4+. And that is a fail. So the Sergeant does die. Unbelievable. What an amazing round of shooting. Now, let's not forget Deflagrate. So 3s to wound again. 2 wounds. They could wipe the squad out. That's unreal. That is another Terminator down. Again, should have used the yellow dice. I'm not used to rolling 2 different colours of dice here. But that is another Terminator down, and that was a Lightning Claw. So from that round of shooting, the Immortals did an amazing job and killed 4 Terminators. All right. So Terminators will need a leadership test. Now they have something called True Believers, but they roll 3 dice and pick the 2 lowest. So fingers crossed to stay alive. They are leadership 8 because they've lost their sergeant. Ooh, done it on a 7. Okay, good work. Just though. All right, that's the shooting done. The Immortals will now charge the remaining Terminators. They get to Overwatch, of course, because they are in Tartarus pattern Terminator armor. So 2 shots from the Reporter Cannon. Nothing twin-linked. 1 hit, not bad. Strength 7, toughness 5, still 2s to wound. That is a wound. 3-up armor. Fail. Interesting. Feel no pain. 5-up. Fail. All right, and that is 1 Immortal down. Then some combi bolter shots. 6s. Twin-linked. Oh, no, that is not a sausage. Nothing there. All right, let's have a quick measure of this charge. It's a 6-inch charge. Now, the Immortals do have a -1 to the charge because they have hardened armor and carrying that breacher shield. So, sorry, I forgot what I said. It's a 6, so we need a 7-inch charge. They could fail this. You never know. Oh, bomb. Bang on a 7. All right, great work. Let's just do this fairly. Does make a difference when you charge. A lot of people have just pushed them forwards, but it does make a difference, particularly if you're, caught out in an extended line. An inch can make all the difference. That's what I tell my girlfriend. Haha. All right, okay, not too bad. Initiative 4. This Marine here will pile in. Terminator will pile in his initiative 4, but the rest of the immortals will go in as well. There's no challenge to be issued, so we move in 3 inches for that pile in. Now, like I said, it will make a difference because everyone within 2 inches of someone in combat. So, one Marine, I'm going to turn him backwards to make sure I remember. So we have here 2 attacks from Sergeant, because we've obviously not got a breach charge now. So, 2 base plus 1 for charging, so with 3. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 attacks. Jeez Louise. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17. Weapon skill 4 against weapon skill 4 is 4. So we get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only 7, man. Dice are bad. All right, strength 4, toughness 4, 4s to wound, 2, 4, 5. That's not too bad, you know. 2 up armor saves for the immortals. Excuse me, for the Terminators. Oh man, they've passed all of them, so that is fantastic work. Now you might ask me, well, why didn't you use the breach charge in this circumstance? I could have done, but I know we wanted to showcase the breach charge, but in this instance, you wouldn't use it. Why would you? You've wiped out a huge volume of Terminators. The most Immortals will lose, I reckon, is 2 Immortals tops. But let's roll it out. Let's see what happens. So also striking Initiative 4 is the Terminator armed with a Lightning Claw. 2 attacks, 4s to hit, 2 hits, great stuff. 4s to wound with Shred. Got a nice 6 there. Oh, wow, look at that. 2 special dice with 2 6s. So we've got the Boys of the Golden Throne Toilet and the Servo Skull from Conflict Norwich. So fantastic there. All right, so 2 wounds there from the Lightning Claw, and they're going to go into the Mortals. They get through their armor. They need 5 up. Shield saves, pass 1, fail 1. Feel no pain. 4. It does kill an Immortal. All right, good work. And then finally, we're on to Initiative 1 with the Chain Fist from the Terminator there. 2 attacks. Hitting on 4s, that's 1, and 2s to wound. All right, so it does wound, and the closest model, or in base contact, is the Sergeant. Now, do I look him out? Yeah, you might as well keep the Sergeant. Need that leadership test just in case. So we'll look out on a 4+. It is failed. All right, so now we're on to a shield. 5 up, fail. Can't have feel no pain because it doubles him out, and that Immortal Sergeant is dead. All right, end of that round, and unbelievably, the Terminators have won the combat by a difference of 2. Despite being absolutely hammered in the shooting phase, they have come back and killed the Sergeant and 1 Immortal. So that is amazing work. So what we're going to do now is we'll do a leadership list 2. So we've lost our Sergeant. He was 9. We're down to 8. -2. We're down to 6. Let's see what happens. And the Immortals pass on a 3. Great work. End of that round then. Everyone is just going to make a piling move. Well, it was the Terminator's, so it was the Immortals' turn, so they'll make their piling move. This Immortal there that failed to attack, he will attack next turn, and then we'll go into the next round of assault. All right, it's the Wordbearer's turn to attack. We'll start off at Initiative 4 with the Lightning Claw. 2 attacks, 4s to hit. You know the drill here. 4s to wound, doesn't need to shred, gets through the armor, so 5 up, shield save, failed, and 5 up, feel no pain, pass. Those Immortals are going strong. All right, so all the Immortals can now attack, so there is 2, 4, 6, 7 attacks for the Immortals. They've only got 1 each. 4, 5, 6, 7. I think they need 2 attacks because, you know, they are supposed to be elite Iron Hands unit, but hey, they're the rules, that's fair enough. 4s to hit. Not amazing. Got 3 hits. Enough to do the squad, maybe, if we're lucky. 4s to wound. That is not a sausage. All right, so the Iron Hands are again in trouble here. All right, the Terminator armed with a Chain Fist is next to attack. 4s to hit. You know the drill here. 2s to wound. It's a 1. Unbelievable. That combat is a stalemate. third and hopefully the final turn of combat here for the Iron Hands versus the Word Bearers. And we'll start off with the Immortals. It's their round, so they will get strike first, initiative 4. Same again, 2, 4, 6, 7 attacks. 2, 4, 6, 7 attacks, requiring 4s. Not bad, not bad. 2, 4, 5. They might do it. 4s to wound. Look at that, look at that. 3 wounds. And now we need 2 up armor. Let's go for it. No, they could not get through that Terminator armor. All right, initiative 4 from the Tartarus Terminators with Lightning Claw. 1 hit. Falls to wound. Doesn't need to shred. Gets through the armor. 5 up shield. Fail. Feel no pain. Fail. Okay, this is really key now. This could be a leadership test for the Terminator, for the Immortals. Next is the Terminator with Chain Fist. Or threw it out the tray again. It was a hit as well, unfortunately. Oh, here we go. Double 6. Conflict Norwich coming through for me. 2 hits. Try and remember. 2s to wound. Look at that. 2 wounds. Now, this is where we see the power of that shield, because if not, we are not getting Feel No Pain. 5 ups. Not a sausage. All right, unbelievably, the Terminators have done the business again. Killing 3 of the Immortals. Their leadership 8 minus 3 is 5. Let's see what happens. Yeah, absolute fail. I knew it was going to be a fail. So the initiative, sweeping advance rather, for the Word Bearers is a 5. I mean, even if I roll, well, I could probably do it. Bomb. The Terminators are victorious once again and have wiped out the Immortals. Let's do their consolidate. Excuse me, yes, consolidate. 5 inches. Let's measure it. It's always worth measuring. Oh, they are in the center of the board. Look at that. Well, that was really, really awesome. I honestly thought the Immortals were going to do the job, but they just couldn't quite manage it. The Terminator armor just really holding fast. Now, you might say to me, well, why didn't you equip the Sergeant with like a power axe or a thunder hammer at least? You know, if you're an Iron Hand player, surely you have a thunder hammer. And yeah, you're absolutely right. That would have been a good call. The reason why they all have Volkite is because this army, as you probably know, was used in Challenge the Channel, where we had a Zone Mortalis board, 45 Iron Hands Immortals, Ortec Maw, and 2 Contemptor Dreadnoughts. And I just basically wanted everyone with a Volkite. And I too took the Breacher Charge in that army, but it never really, I don't think I ever used it, to be honest with you. But also as well, you know, it gives the Sergeant a bit of shooting, which is really cool. But maybe the AP2 would have come in handy. But then you say that, you know, he's got what, 3 attacks on the charge with a Thunder Hammer, Strength 8, AP2, I think they are, concussive. But then if you compare it to the Breacher Charge, you know, if we have a cluster of Terminators here, probably would be like that. And you've got our Sergeant here armed with his Breaching Charge, and he's right in the guts of battle, and he rolls a hit and he puts that Breacher Charge down. Let's have a look. Base contact. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is 5 Terminators, and all he needs to roll is a 4+. Let's see if we can do it now. Okay, we do roll a 4+. All right, fantastic. All right, so all we need is that 4. Now we need 2s, 2, 4, 5. Drop to dice. 2s to wound. Look at that. It's worth taking that Breach Charge on the odd chance you get it, particularly if you're coming against Terminators. That's 5 hits at Strength 8 AP2. 2, 4, 5. Let's see if we can make any saves. Tartarus pattern. No, see, 5 Terminators would have died in that combat. I guess that's what we wanted to showcase, but it didn't quite work out that way. But in the end, you know, it's not a bad thing that it didn't happen. However, if we had taken the Cataphractii, we only would have lost 1 Terminator. Now, I know it's all situational, isn't it? Because, you know, every battle is different, and one person can have the most amazing dice and all his hits, all his wounds, and his opponent can fail. But, you know, we've done it a couple of times now, and, you know, on balance, is a Breacher Charge worth it? The Breacher Charge has so much potential, doesn't it? Like we've just demonstrated. In reality, are you going to get it off every time? Probably not, but it's cool when you do. So if that's justification for taking the Breaching Charge, I don't know what else is. but it was really interesting to see. Nearly got it off in those in the initial first round of combat, but didn't quite make it. All right, so if you are using breach charges in your Phalanx Warder squad, your Immortal squad, and your Breacher squad, and you've had some great success, please put a comment below and tell us the story about what happened. If it's a really great story, we'll bang it up on the Instagram and the Facebook page with a little written description to celebrate your victory with a breaching charge. And we'll try and encourage a few more people to take breaching charges because I don't think they're taken that often. I haven't had much experience with them, so it's only based off very limited experience I've had, but I don't think they're massively popular. And particularly as they're only narrowed down to sort of 3 units, which I could find this afternoon when I had a quick through the rules. But that's it. I really hope you found this interesting. It's been lots of fun for me playing with the Iron Hands. And, you know, Tartarus Pattern Terminators, you know, maybe they'll make an appearance into the Death Guard. Who knows? All right. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.